चौथे चरण की वोटिंग को सर आप कैसे देखते हैं?
मैं देखता हूं कि पिछले चरण से ज्यादा आएगा।
आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में भी सर आज वोटिंग होने वाली है, आप खुद वोटर?
हाँ, हम यहाँ आए हैं, वोट डाल के अपने कंस्टिट्यूंसी जाएंगे। बेगूसराय में भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत होगी, यहाँ भी एनडीए की जीत होगी। ललन सिंह।
पिछले 3 चरणों के चुनाव की अगर बात करें, वोट परसेंटेज काफी कम रहा है सर, इस बार कैसे देख?
बढ़ेगा, मान के चलें, बढ़ेगा 200%।
लेकिन सर 40 की 40 सीटों पर आप जीत की बात बीजेपी कहती है, आप लोग क्या कहते हैं?
200%, 40 की 40 होगी।
कैसा लग रहा है टीएमसी का उम्मीदवार होने में, और ये दुर्गापुर जो एरिया है, बर्धमान दुर्गापुर, इस एरिया में किस तरीके से आपका प्रचार चला और कैसा लगा आपको?
लोगों का समर्थन है, खास करके जो दीदी काम किए हैं। दीदी केवल एक राजनेता नहीं, वो एक भावना है, एक पंथ है, और उनका काम, उनकी गारंटीज वह स्पष्ट दिखती हैं। ये लोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी वाले जानते हैं कि यह अभेद्य किला है दीदी का, जो ये लोग घुस नहीं सकते। तो केवल उनको ही नहीं, लेकिन पश्चिम बंगाल के सभी लोगों को दुनिया भर में बदनाम करने का प्रयास करते हैं। इनका तरीका एक ही है, इनके पास दिखाने के लिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास दिखाने के लिए कुछ नहीं है कि पिछले 10 सालों में उन्होंने क्या किया है। इसलिए आप देख लें, जैसे ही पहले चरण में उनका खराब हुआ, उनकी भाषा बदली, दूसरे चरण में और उनका खराब हुआ, और तीसरे चरण में ख़त्म हो जाने के बाद मछली, मांस, मुगल, मंगलसूत्र, मुसलमान, इसी पर आ गए। तो इससे उनकी जो भड़ास है वह स्पष्ट दिखती है। संदेश खली में भी उन्होंने बदनाम करने का प्रयास किया। वो महिलाएं बाहर आईं और उन्होंने कहा कि ज़बरदस्ती उनसे सादे कागज़ पे लिखवाया गया, 2-2 हज़ार रुपये दिए गए। एक तो महिलाओं ने कहा, उसके पहले संदेश कली के जो सभापति हैं दोनों ब्लॉक के, उन्होंने भी इस बात को कहा था। तो यह स्वतः स्पष्ट है कि देश भर में वह जाकर कहीं न कहीं नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं, लेकिन उनको बड़ी समस्या हो रही है पश्चिम बंगाल में आकर। तो इसको लेकर भड़ास में है। हमारी स्थिति बहुत अच्छी है और यह भारतीय जनता पार्टी जानती है।
सांसद साक्षी महाराज वोटिंग करके निकले हैं, अपने मताधिकार का प्रयोग किया है। सीधे बात करेंगे सांसद जी, पहली बार 3 लाख पार, दूसरी बार 4 लाख पार, इस बार क्या करने वाले हैं?
इस लाख जनता कह रही है 5 लाख पार, और 5 लाख से ऊपर ही जाएगा, कितने जाएगा मुझे पता नहीं।
क्या मुद्दे रहेंगे खासकर उन्नाव के लिए इस बार?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी चुनाव के समय मुद्दे लेके नहीं आती है, वो तो चुनाव जीतने के बाद 5 साल तक सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास।
केजरीवाल लगातार हमलावर हैं जब से जेल से रिहा हुए हैं, क्या कहेंगे केजरीवाल?
केजरीवाल जी अपनी तुलना गिरगिट से करें, बीजेपी से नहीं करें।
तो ये थे साक्षी महाराज, जिनका साफ तौर पे कहना है कि एक बार फिर से मोदी सरकार यहाँ पर बन रही है, और केजरीवाल को साफ तौर पे यहाँ पर गिरगिट बताया है। लगातार अपना रंग बदलते रहते हैं। उन्नाव से इंडिया न्यूज के लिए सत्यम वाजपेयी।
लोकसभा सांसद सुब्रत पाठक कन्नौज से हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं। सर, मतदान कर दिया है आपने, इस बार आपके सामने कन्नौज से अखिलेश यादव सामने खड़े हुए हैं, कितनी बड़ी चुनौती मान रहे?
नहीं, काहे की चुनौती, देखो उनका अपना विचार, हमारा अलग विचार है। हाँ, वो राहुल गांधी को देश का प्रधानमंत्री बनाना चाहते हैं, हम लोग मोदी जी को देश का प्रधानमंत्री बनाना चाहते हैं, तो स्वाभाविक है। तो इसमें कोई चुनौती वाली विषय नहीं है। और पिछला चुनाव वो श्रीमती डिम्पल यादव जी लड़ी थी, तो सपा बसपा का गठबंधन था। इस बार अलग अलग हैं, तो मैं नहीं समझता इस बार कोई चुनौती होनी चाहिए।
और इस बार अखिलेश यादव और राहुल गांधी ने मिलकर चुनाव प्रचार जो है कन्नौज में किया है। वहीं आपसे ये भी जानना चाहेंगे, अखिलेश यादव कह रहे हैं, अपनी सभाओं में भी उन्होंने कहा है कि क्रांति इस बार कन्नौज में देखने को मिलेगी।
एक दिन उन्होंने ये भी कहा था कि भाजपा के बूथों पर लोग नहीं मिलेंगे, और जब वो कन्नौज आए थे तो इनकी कुर्सियों पर बैठने वाले लोग नहीं मिले।
पिछली बार मार्जिन जो है वो 13,000 का रहा था, क्या लग रहा है इस बार क्या होगा?
नहीं, इस बार देखो आप मान के चलो कि जो दिखाई पड़ रहा है जमीन पे, उस पर बड़ी विजय की ओर भाजपा अग्रसर है।
सर, अगर कन्नौज की बात करें तो क्या कुछ मुद्दे होंगे, आपका क्या विजन है कन्नौज को लेकर?
देखो, कन्नौज को लेकर निश्चित रूप से जो विकसित भारत का जो संकल्प है, उसके तहत कन्नौज भी आएगा। कन्नौज यहाँ के ऊपर नोएडा के जैसे तीव्र विकास हो, औद्योगिक नगरी कन्नौज, यहाँ के ऊपर उद्योग धंधे आए, इन्वेस्टमेंट हों, यहाँ के ऊपर तमाम एक नई बाज़ारें डेवलप हों, और यहाँ के ऊपर बहुत सारे मनोरंजन के साधन हो, पर्यटन भी यहाँ के ऊपर पूरी तरीके से डेवलपमेंट हो। तो कुल मिलाकर जिस प्रकार से इतनी कनेक्टिविटी आज मजबूत हो गई है कन्नौज की, तो ये सब हो सकता है। हम लोगों ने एक औद्योगिक नगरी भी यहाँ के ऊपर पास की है।
मेरा आखिरी सवाल रहेगा, भाजपा लगातार कह रही है अब की बार 400 पार, क्या लग रहा है कितना हो पाएगा, क्योंकि चौथा चरण अब शुरू हो गया है?
नहीं देखो, आप मान के चलो कि जिस प्रकार से जो लहर जमीन पे दिख रही है, कोई लहर को यहीं थोड़े ना है, तो पीछे से चलते हुए आ रही है। तो अब जैसे जैसे चुनाव बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, वैसे वैसे आप थोड़ा मोदी जी की लहर बढ़ती चली जा रही है। तो आखिरी आते 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 400 पार आप होना सुनिश्चित मान के चलिए।
ठीक है, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। सुब्रत पाठक जी को आप सुन रहे थे कन्नौज से, और साफ तौर पर उनका ये कहना है कि लहर जो है वो अभी भी देखने को मिल रही है, और जैसे जैसे चौथा चरण आया है वो लहर जो है और बढ़ती जा रही है, और इस बार भाजपा 400 पार जो है वो करने जा रही है। कैमरा पर्सन अनीश के साथ आरजू सेठ, इंडिया न्यूज, दिल्ली।
Okay, Arzu there in Kannauj, important battle, remember, because the BJP is the sitting incumbent in the state, but Akhilesh Yadav has come out there to take them on and try to beat them in that seat. May, will, can't say at this point of time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, we are now heading to constituency number 9, 10, 11 and 12. So we get a perspective from on the ground on what is taking place. Vikas Srivastav standing by in Shirdi in Maharashtra, Rainik Datta in Durgapur in West Bengal, Arzu Seth is in Kannauj, and Abhishek is in Lakhimpur Kheri in Uttar Pradesh. Let's kick this off with Arzu back in Kannauj. Arzu, you just spoke with the BJP, who of course is hoping that they can deny Akhilesh a seat, but a bigger contest this time with Akhilesh entering.
Well, absolutely, Rishabh, and without any delay, let me go across the voter, because they are coming since morning to cast their votes. What are their issues for the Kannauj, for the country? Let's go across them. मैम, अगर बात करें कन्नौज के इशू की, तो क्या कुछ मुद्दे हैं जिनको ध्यान में रख के आपने आज वोट डाला है?
मैंने कुछ नहीं, अपना सहयोग दिया, योगदान दिया अपना।
बिल्कुल, आपने बहुत जिम्मेदार नागरिक होने की एक निभाई है जिम्मेदारी, लेकिन अगर बात करें महिला सुरक्षा क्या हुई है उत्तर प्रदेश में, कन्नौज में?
जी।
अच्छा, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? एजुकेशन को लेके क्या कन्नौज में काम हुआ है पिछले 5 सालों में, या इस बार आप लोग क्या देख रहे हैं?
तुम तो पहली बार डाल रहे हो।
आप पहली बार वोट डालने आई हैं? देखिए, फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स हैज आल्सो कम, तो क्या कुछ सोच के वोट डाला है? बदलाव देख रही हैं, डेवलपमेंट को देख के वोट डाला है?
मैंने बदलाव देखा है।
बदलाव देखा है कन्नौज में, और क्या बदलाव देखना चाहते हैं?
और कुछ नहीं, जितना हमें मिलना चाहिए उतना मिलना है।
बिल्कुल, तो people are hoping for a development, and also you can see people in large number are coming here at the polling booth to cast their vote. सर आपसे बात करना चाहेंगे, क्या कुछ मुद्दे हैं जिनको ध्यान में रख के आप वोट करने पहुंचे?
सब बढ़िया मुद्दे हैं, मेरे पड़ोस का मसला है, हम अपने पड़ोसी को ही वोट देना चाहेंगे, चाहे कुछ भी हो।
तो क्या कुछ डेवलपमेंट पिछले 5 सालों में देखने को मिला है कन्नौज?
सब कुछ किया है और सब कुछ कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा,
हाँ।
So you can see the voters are coming here at the polling booth. In fact, there has been cutouts kept here to to create the awareness, nice. Because we have seen how the voter turnout was very low in the 3 phases.
Yeah, very
so
nice.
now they have also kept. मैम, आपसे भी जानना चाहेंगे क्या मुद्दे हैं कन्नौज के?
क्या मुद्दे हैं? सही है।
Okay, Arzu, coming back to you. Let me hop across to Lakhimpur Kheri in Uttar Pradesh. Lakhimpur Kheri, very interesting battleground seat as once again has been the center point of controversies in the past. Let's open this up. Abhishek, क्या चर्चा चल रही है, क्या मुद्दे हैं मतदाता केंद्रों पे?
जी हाँ, बिल्कुल, हम यहाँ लखीमपुर खीरी में सिविलियन विद्यालय पर मौजूद हैं, और तस्वीरें आप देख सकते हैं कि कैसे सुबह से ही, क्योंकि मौसम खुशगवार है, पिछले कुछ दिनों में जिस तरह का मौसम रहा उसकी वजह से भी पोलिंग इफेक्ट हुई, और मौसम पूरी तरह खुशगवार है, इसीलिए लोग सुबह से ही अपने मताधिकार का प्रयोग करने पहुंचे हुए हैं। यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं सामने पोलिंग स्टेशन पर सुबह से ही इसी तरह लोग अपने मताधिकार का प्रयोग करने एक के बाद एक पहुंच रहे हैं, और बड़ी तादाद में ये उम्मीद की जा रही है कि मौसम के खुशगवार होने की वजह से इस बार पोलिंग में भी खासा असर देखने को मिलेगा, यानी बड़ी तादाद में जो पोलिंग है वो इफेक्ट होगी, और ये अनुमान लगाया जा रहा है कि पिछली बार के मुकाबले इस बार पोलिंग परसेंटेज बढ़ता हुआ नजर आएगा। हमारे साथ लोग मौजूद हैं, अपने मताधिकार का प्रयोग करके आ रहे हैं?
हाँ जी, अभी नहीं भैया, अभी
करने जा रहे हैं।
जी,
मौसम अच्छा हो गया इसलिए लग रहा है सुबह सुबह जल्दी लोग कर रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल,
देखिए, लोग सुबह सुबह निकले हुए हैं घरों से, और मौसम क्योंकि थोड़ा बहुत बारिश भी हुई है लखीमपुर और आसपास के इलाकों में, इसकी वजह से ये उम्मीद की जा रही है कि यहाँ पर पोलिंग परसेंटेज भी निश्चित तौर पर बढ़ता हुआ नजर आएगा।
ओके, आई एम गोइंग टू इंटरप्ट यू अभिषेक, क्योंकि हम जो करना चाह रहे थे कि मतदाताओं से बात करें, मौसम अच्छा है, वो तो अच्छी खुशखबरी दी है आपने, ठीक है, मौसम अच्छा ही हो, लेकिन क्या मुद्दे हैं, क्या चर्चा है, वो ज़्यादा हो तो ज़्यादा मज़ा आएगा, हमें पता चलेगा क्या क्या वहाँ पर है। नहीं तो हम लिटरली हवा की बातें करते रह जाएंगे। लेट्स हॉप अक्रॉस टू श्रीनगर वेयर उमर अब्दुल्ला एंड फारूक अब्दुल्ला स्पीकिंग आउट दिस मॉर्निंग।
पहुंचाने के लिए और है कौन मरकज़ की तरफ से इलेक्शन लड़ने के लिए, और ज़रा बताएं कौन से वर्कर। मैं फिर ये बात दोहराता हूँ ना, अब हमने तो कम से कम आपको नाम दिए, थानों के डिटेल्स दिए, वो ज़रा बताएं कौन है और किस थाने में लिया गया। अब चलिए जो हुआ सो हुआ, रात गई बात गई, आज नया दिन है। अब उम्मीद करते हैं कि हमारे वर्करों को इस तरह तंग नहीं किया जाएगा। आज हम पोलिंग बूथ के बाहर खड़े हैं, हमने अपने वोट का इस्तेमाल किया। हमारे साथ 2 फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर हैं जो पहली मर्तबा वोट डाल रहे हैं। ये पहली बार है कि हमारी फैमिली की 3 पीढ़ियां जो हैं एक साथ वोट डालने आए। मैं यही उम्मीद करूंगा कि बाकी जगहों में भी इसी तरह अपने जमहूरी हक़ का जो है वोटर इस्तेमाल करें। अगर के ये कहा गया है कि कोई बॉयकॉट नहीं है, किसी तरह की वायलेंस नहीं है, किसी तरह का ख़तरा नहीं है, तो फिर बढ़ चढ़ के लोगों को जो है इस इलेक्शन में हिस्सा लेना चाहिए, अपने वोट का इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, क्योंकि आखिरकार यही एक जमहूरी तरीका है जिससे कि हम अपनी आवाज़ जो है वो बुलंद कर सकें।
उमर साहब, ये चीज़ पहली बार हो रही है, यहाँ कोई हड़ताल काल इस बारी नहीं है, कोई आज इलेक्शन के दिन
आप शाम तक वेट करके देखते हैं ना अब इसका कितना असर पड़ेगा। आप कहते हैं कि कोई बॉयकॉट कॉल नहीं है, ठीक है ना, अब नहीं है, तो इसका वोटरों पे कितना असर पड़ेगा आज शाम जब तक पोलिंग बूथ खुले हैं तब तक देखें। अब जो देखिए, अब इस बार तो चलिए फिर आप मान के चले ना कि जो वोट में हिस्सा नहीं ले रहा है, अपनी मर्जी से नहीं ले रहा। अब कितने वोटर जो हैं पुलवामा ज़िले में शुपियाँ असेंबली हल्के से, श्रीनगर से जो हैं, कितने वोटर अपने वोट का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, उसके लिए हमें वेट करना पड़ेगा। मेरी तो सबसे मोतबाना गुजारिश यही होगी कि वो इस मौके को गंवाएं ना, इस मौके का वो इस्तेमाल करें, क्योंकि मैं बार बार ये कहता हूँ जमहूरियत में यही एक तरीका है जिससे कि हम अपनी आवाज़ जो है वो बुलंद कर सकें। बहुत सी ऐसी बातें हैं जो हो चुकी हैं जिनके बारे में वोटरों को अपनी राय जो है वो देनी होगी, और ये एक तरीका है। मैं कैसे कह सकता हूँ क्या कन्वे करेगा, वो तो रिजल्ट कन्वे करेगा ना। मैं तो ये कहूँगा कि अगर नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए वोट आया, क्योंकि हमने तो बार बार इस इलेक्शन में 5 अगस्त 2019 के हवाले से बात की, 370 को यहाँ से हटाने की बात की, जो हमारे साथ पिछले 5 साल में जो नाइंसाफ़ियाँ हुई हैं उसका हमने जिक्र किया है। जाहिर सी बात है इंशाल्लाह जब नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के उम्मीदवार जीतेंगे तो अक्सर बेशतर वोटरों की भी यही राय होगी जो हमारी है। लेकिन ये सवाल आप मुझसे तब पूछिए जब 4 जून को नतीजे होंगे।
Okay, you've heard Umar Abdullah speaking over there, encouraging people that listen guys, this time there's no boycott, there's no security risk. So that's a happy thing. That's a good thing that's happened. No boycott, no security risk. 13% voter turnout last time around, may go up double, triple, quadruple this time. Of course, Umar Abdullah will be hoping that the double, triple, quadruple is all coming out voting for his candidate there. The NC hoping to come back with 2 or 3 seats. That particular seat in Srinagar is a bit of a fight. Omar is expected that he'll be holding his at least. Interesting battle. But I'm going to take, we've already discussed Srinagar. We've reported from there already. Let's take an opportunity of heading to Shirdi where Vikas is standing by. Vikas, क्या चर्चा चल रही है वहाँ पर?
ऋषभ, यहाँ पर उत्साह देखते बन रहा है, पुणे की जनता का उत्साह कि सवेरे सवेरे घर से निकले हैं। लंबी कतार हमको मतदान केंद्र पर दिखती है और मेरे अगल बगल भी आप मतदाताओं का हुजूम देख सकते हैं कि किस किस्म से इन्होंने अब से थोड़ी देर पहले मतदान किया और सब अपनी उंगली पर लगी हुई स्याही का निशान बड़े गर्व से दिखा रहे हैं, ये जताने के लिए कि उन्होंने अपने हक की अदायगी कर दी है, उन्होंने अपना कर्तव्य निभा दिया है। और इसमें आप देख सकते हैं कि हर वर्ग के, हर उम्र वर्ग के लोग जो हैं इन मतदाताओं में शामिल हैं। मैं इनसे समझने की कोशिश करता हूं कि आज जब ये मतदान केंद्र पर पहुंचे थे तो इनके दिमाग में मुद्दे क्या थे, इनके जहन में क्या मुद्दे थे जिनके आधार पर इन्होंने वोट किया। दादा, आपकी उम्र बताइए सबसे पहले।
मेरी उम्र
77 साल की उम्र में आप जब मतदान केंद्र पर आए, क्या मुद्दे आपके दिमाग थे, किन मुद्दों के आधार पर आपने वोट किया?
माझा मुख्य मुद्दा असा आहे की सध्या सरकारचं आणि सर्वांचं ज्येष्ठ नागरिकांकडे दुर्लक्ष होत आहे।
नागरिकों की जो ज्येष्ठ नागरिक मतलब सीनियर सिटीजन है उनकी अनदेखी हो रही है। तो सीनियर सिटीजन का एक मुद्दा था और कुछ लोगों से समझता हूं। दादा आपका क्या मुद्दा था? आप किन मुद्दों के आधार पे वोट करने आए थे? आप किन मुद्दों के आधार पे वोट करने आए?
हमारा एक ही मुद्दा है कि जो सीनियर सिटीजन है उनको कोई रूम जो है वो नजदीक दिया जाए।
अच्छा, यहाँ व्यवस्थाओं को लेकर आपकी शिकायत है। तो कुछ शिकायतें यहाँ पर हैं मतदान केंद्र को लेकर। ऐसा कहा जा रहा है कि सीनियर सिटीजन्स को लेकर कोई अलग से व्यवस्था नहीं की गई है, उन्हें थोड़ी तकलीफ हो रही है यहाँ पर मतदान करने में। तो ये विषय मैं यहाँ पर उठाऊंगा, लेकिन मुद्दे समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। हमारे साथ कुछ महिला हैं। महिला के तौर पर आपके दिमाग में क्या मुद्दे थे?
मेरा मेन मुद्दा है एजुकेशन। इट्स सो मच प्राइवेटाइजेशन की होल सैलरी गोइंग इनटू फीस। तो गवर्नमेंट शुड टेक स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन टू रिड्यूस द फीस एंड गिव रिलीफ टू सिटीजन्स।
आप क्या सोचते हैं? आप किन मुद्दों के आधार पर वोट करने हैं?
मेरा ये मुद्दा है कि सरकार ने कुछ तो भी बच्चों लोग के बारे में कुछ तो भी सोचना मांगता है,
बच्चों के भविष्य के लिए। मतलब क्या?
हाँ, मतलब जैसे कि आजकल महंगाई हो रहा है तो वो थोड़ा महंगाई के बारे में सोचना मांगता है। एजुकेशन महंगा हो रहा है, सब कुछ महंगा हो रहा है, फीस महंगा हो रहा है। और जो सीनियर सिटीजन है उनके पास भी थोड़ा सा सरकार ने
महंगाई एक मुद्दा है। ज्येष्ठ नागरिकों के लिए कुछ अलग से व्यवस्थाएं हो, ये एक कोशिश यहाँ से मतदाता कह रहे हैं हमारे जरिए। आप क्या मुद्दे लेकर आए थे? 87 साल के 87 ईयर्स ओल्ड। आप समझ सकते हैं कि किस किस्म से इस जो एज ग्रुप है उनमें कितना उत्साह होता है मतदान को लेकर। सबसे पहले यही लोग पहुंचते हैं मतदान केंद्र पर, और आश्चर्यजनक रूप से आज हमें कुछ यंगस्टर्स भी जो हैं सवेरे सवेरे मतदान केंद्र पर पहुंचे। आप हिंदी बोल पाते हैं? हिंदी बोल लेंगे?
ज्येष्ठ नागरिक सहूलतें मिलत नहीं आम्हाला।
अच्छा, इनका भी वही मुद्दा है कि ज्येष्ठ नागरिक मतलब जो सीनियर सिटीजन है उनको वो सहूलियतें नहीं मिल रही है। मैं कुछ और मतदाताओं से बात करने की कोशिश करूंगा। दादा, आपसे बात कर सकता हूं मैं? क्या मुद्दे लेकर आए हैं आप? किन मुद्दों के आधार पर वोट करेंगे?
मेन तो प्रोग्रेस है।
आप इस तरफ आ जाइए, इस तरफ। एक मिनट दादा, मेरा लाइव चल रहा है। मेरा लाइव चल रहा है, मैं निकल जाऊंगा 1 मिनट में। और ऋषभ जी, यहाँ भी पुलिस देखिए मेरे साथ है। दरअसल यहाँ पर कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं।
No, restrictions should apply. You should request them. You should respect them as well. We'll pick up this conversation from right outside. Of course, I think the main issue that the people had on the ground was the senior citizens were very upset. And maybe that same policeman could be helping out the senior citizens who, all of them wanted to say that we are very upset with what's happening there. But the people are out there coming out in as many large numbers and voting, and that's a good sign. Durgapur in West Bengal. Ranik Datta standing by. Ranik, what's the charcha going on in Durgapur?
एकदम डायरेक्टली मैं लोगों से बात कर लेता हूँ कि कौन से मुद्दे आज सामने रहेगा। दादा, आज तो आप लोग वोट करने के लिए आए हैं, कौन से मुद्दे के ऊपर मेनली फोकस करेगा?
देखिए, लोकसभा का है, इसलिए डेफिनेटली हम लोग का जो देश का मुद्दा है हमने रोजगार, किसानों के लिए सरसों जो होता है उनका अच्छा भाव मिले, और जो गरीब है वो गरीबी से बाहर आए, यही मेन मुद्दा है मेरे लिए। और देश का सुरक्षा सबसे पहले रहेगा। साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी की आगे बढ़ती होना चाहिए। जो दो पार्टी ये सब में काम करेंगे तो उसी में तो हम लोग का इच्छा रहेगा।
सर, आप कौन सा मुद्दा मेनली फोकस रहेगा? कौन सा?
Okay, so there we have it. Our reporters are just going to get their ducks in a row, okay? And we'll come back to it. And we'll free all our reporters because between Lakhimpur Kheri, Shirdi and Kannauj and Durgapur, the reportage that we primarily wanted to get was to get the voices of the people. We're having a technical issue there, so we'll come back. Durgapur, ladies and gentlemen, now the Bardhaman Durgapur constituency is a contest between Dilip Ghosh of the Bharatiya Janata Party. S.S. Ahluwalia had won that constituency in 2019. Dilip Ghosh, of course, who's been part of the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Bengal, will be hoping that he can take on and defeat Kirti Azad there of the constituency in a larger battleground that is taking place. And he's, of course, been fielded by the All India Trinamool Congress. Let me quickly thank our reporters and go back to our guest. Himanshu Bhatt is back with us on the telecast. Let's pick up this conversation. Himanshu ji, let's jump into the Battle of Bengal where we left off with our reporters. At this point of time, interesting choices that are being made, but Mamata Banerjee is pretty keen on trying to hold on to her seats. What's your flavor? How do you think it's going?
She will try. She will try her best. But the way, you have been seeing that, from all four phases. If you see the cumulative reportage, what we had, and the district stage tests, that we had, you will find that reporter in West Bengal is finding it very, very difficult to get what are the main issues on what they are speaking. So the voter there, my understanding is the voter in West Bengal is very much guarded. A voter is only guarded when he fears something. He doesn't want to reveal his mind in front of the camera. That somewhere down the line, people might see what he has said or how he is voted if he says, what are the issues on which he is voted. So quite a many people, there might be some women who are shy, but that you will find it everywhere across the country. But in West Bengal specifically, you will find that voters are not telling their mind clearly what they want. They are saying, the petty issues, like, pensioners are saying this, that and all. But they also know at the age of 75, 77, a senior citizen exactly knows this is a Lok Sabha election and for what he is voting. He is not telling his mind in front of the camera. Now that suggests so many things, that he fears from someone. He doesn't want that repercussion to be coming back. And what we saw in Bengal happening in the last 5, 7, 10 years is exactly that. There have been leaders on the stage saying in Bengal that right now there will be central forces when elections take place. After that, where will you go? You are going to be here and we are going to be here.
Well, a lot of ugly things get said. Let's not kid ourselves. The rough and tough politics is not a creation of Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is the one that took on the rough and tough politics of the left.
Yes.
That she has co-opted some of the ruffians and the toughians is of course a larger conversation. And even worse, if the BJP also co-opts them in the future, that would be an equally bad turn of events. So it's a difficult contest. Let me get Piyush Pant on the broadcast with us. Gautam Seth of the Congress joining us this morning. Piyush ji, let me quickly bring you in on Bengal. Let's look at an awkward contest going on where Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is fighting to defend the Congress's only seat in Bengal, but Mamata Banerjee has gone all the way to Baroda in Gujarat, found Yusuf Pathan, brought him to Bengal and made him fight against Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. Why? Why make that extra effort?
Well, I think it is because TMC wants to send maximum number of MPs to the center, so that in case of hung parliament, she can be in driver's seat, in deciding to support which party, which has got more and more seats than the other parties. So she could be in a driver's seat. That's why I think every party strives to send more and more MPs at the center. I think that was a logic, but I suppose because there was, at least in the beginning, there was an understanding, since even now, Mamata Banerjee says that she is with the India Alliance. But how it is? What kind of politics is this? She could have given a weaker candidate there, but she brought Pathan to fight against Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. I think there is a certain personal enmity between Mamata Banerjee and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, because Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has spared no moment to accuse Mamata Banerjee and say something not very healthy things about Mamata Banerjee.
Yes.
So I think she has taken it personally, and that's why she wants that this time he should be defeated.
Okay.
So I think she's scoring a personal score over there.
Okay. All right.
That
Just
was
hang
the
a
reason.
second, because Brian, my colleague on the ground, has just managed to catch up with Yusuf Pathan. Let's quickly listen in. It's a brief interaction.
सर मेरा पहला सवाल ये रहेगा, आप कंटेस्ट करें, आप स्टार क्रिकेटर हैं, तो कितना एक्साइटेड है आज के लिए?
बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ और आज के दिन के लिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है मेरे लिए और बहरामपुर के लोगों के लिए, क्योंकि आज वोटिंग हो रहा है और लोग बहुत शांतिपूर्वक यहाँ पे वोटिंग कर रहे हैं।
सर फर्स्ट 2 फेजेस में वोटर टर्नआउट कम था, तो ये फेज में कितना आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो, वोटर टर्नआउट कैसा होगा सर?
बहुत अच्छा होगा।
Okay, there you had Yusuf Pathan. yesterday, of course, saying as a Gujarati, he's proud of what Narendra Modi has achieved, but he is chosen to accept the TMC ticket. Let's process this. Himanshu Bhatt, before I rope in the Congress spokesperson, why would Mamata Banerjee have to go all the way to Baroda to find a candidate in Bengal? Because she's all about, Bengali pride and, how Bengali language and Bengali culture, we saw a lot of that. Yusuf Pathan is nowhere near, connected to the soil for decades.
No, he's not connected to the soil for decades, but he's been connected with one of the IPL teams. I think it is where this whole connection has come about. Realistically, if you talk, Yusuf Pathan also would not have imagined in his wildest.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The head of the IPL team, I think the chief mentor, chief coach, is the current Lok Sabha MP of the Bharatiya Janata Party from Delhi. He's not contesting this time. He's not got a ticket this time, that being Gautam Gambhir. So it would be ironical if Gautam Gambhir was now contesting, if that was the logic. But nonetheless, Himanshu ji, finish your thought.
Yeah. So what I feel is, on one side, there is an appeal. See, Mamata Banerjee is very, very clear. As far as West Bengal is concerned, all the minority vote is hers. She doesn't want Congress to participate in that, take 5%, 10%, which was not the case. See, as you said, she took over the baton from communists and Marxists. Now she is the sole torchbearer as far as West Bengal is concerned for the appeasement of minorities. And this has been happening. And Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, to standing his ground on one side, is fighting for Behrampur's, or rather I'll say Congress legacy. I remember the days of Siddharth Shankar Ray of Congress when he was the chief minister. And I remember today, lot of water has flown under Hooghly. So, we are getting Yusuf Pathan by a woman who always talks of Ma Mati Manush.
Well, okay. So now we've had this conversation. So now I'm going to have to pose what is in essence a politically awkward question. Gautam, you'll have to face it, unfortunately. Okay. There's an aphorism that says, with friends like these, who needs enemies? You got one seat in Bengal, and Mamata Banerjee has gone out of her way, literally all the way to Gujarat. She's gone out of her way to take you out of your last seat in Bengal. What kind of friend is she?
I think that's Mamata ji's prerogative. She has all the right to decide her own candidates, to decide her strategy on every seat that she wants to fight on. And we have no enmity or any kind of awkwardness in conversation because of such decisions. Because the India Alliance was formed for a very larger purpose. And all these such small decisions hardly make a dent to the united cause of India Alliance. The united cause is much larger, much greater. It is for the Constitution of India. It is for the people's issues. And our focus remains there. So such decisions remain individual to Mamata ji and TMC. And we absolutely have no issues
with whatever strategy. Are you saying being wiped out for the first time in the history of independent India and for the Congress party, potentially wiped out if Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary loses, which is what Mamata Banerjee wants? She wants you wiped out from Bengal, and that is in your interest? It's in the interest of the country to see the Congress wiped out in Bengal? Is that what you're saying?
Who says Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is losing? Who says that the Congress is weak on that seat?
No, I'm expecting Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary to win that seat and to come back, but she is trying to defeat you. She is trying to wipe you out, and you're saying Mamata Banerjee is working in the interests of the country?
I'm saying that's her strategy. That's her strategy individually on that seat. But the India Alliance purpose is much larger. It's not limited to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary.
But Gautam, it's about winning seats.
Let us not limitize
every seat matters.
India Alliance to one seat.
Every seat matters. You only got 52 last time. Every single seat mattered. So are you trying to say every single seat doesn't matter?
I'm saying that TMC has their own strategy on that seat and the Congress has its own strategy on the seat. And on the national level, we are together in the India Alliance for a larger purpose. And that's how we describe the unity and diversity of India Alliance.
So Mamata is a friend even if she wipes you out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Congress party every time has become number 3 in the state, in any state, again in the history of India, it's never returned to power in that state as the leader of a government. This is just a fact of history, and that's unhappy news for the Congress party. But let's have a look at the larger picture of where this goes, because the contest is not necessarily between the Congress and the BJP, or the Congress and Mamata Banerjee. It's a contest between the Mamata Banerjee and the BJP. Piyush ji, Mamata Banerjee, to her credit, has held the fort in Lok Sabha elections, in assembly elections, for the better part of nearing 2 decades, 1.5 decades plus. This time around, we are seeing, thankfully, a more peaceful election. Even Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary saying, so far this morning, no complaints, might have complaints later this day, don't know. But how do you think it's going?
I think, this time things are a little better. Though even today morning we had seen that many complaints were registered by the TMC, by the BJP, and even by Congress. So no, violence and disruption is the part of the Bengal scenario. As you had also described it, because the cadre which has been, which had always been intoxicated with power, right from the time of the left government, then to TMC, and the transfer being, the cadre being transferred to the succeeding parties like TMC, from TMC to BJP, because many leaders of TMC, they have shifted to BJP. So they have taken their cadre also, they have workers also with them. So this culture is there. So that's why we see so much violence in Bengal. But till now, the situation seems to be little better. And I think the good sense has prevailed even on Mamata Banerjee, that for the Lok Sabha election, because in the Lok Sabha election, her stake is not that much as it is in the state assembly election. So I think that is also one factor which disciplines her not to indulge in more and more violence, because it brings a bad name to her also.
Okay.
So I think some sense, good sense is prevailing on her. That's a good sign. And if TMC doesn't involve in large scale violence this time, so that is a good thing for the Indian democracy.
Well, fingers crossed. Ghee, shakkar and everything, sir. That's exactly how it turns out. So far, so good. Okay, it was really, really ugly in Bengal last time around in the Lok Sabha elections. You were seeing candidates' cars being stoned and them being gheraued, and like all the ugliness that you can think that should not happen in a Lok Sabha election was indeed happening in a Lok Sabha election last time around. Sudhanshu Mittal joining us this morning. Sudhanshu ji, let me pick up the conversation around Bengal. It is an important state, some would say a swing state, where it really matters. 18 seats last time around. Are you hoping to improve that by a few?
This time you will see very surprise results, because the people of West Bengal have made up their minds to say goodbye to the ugly regime, I call it, of Mamata Banerjee. You see, it's so unfortunate that the two states of West Bengal and Kerala see so much of violence related to polls. Now, these are governed by the so-called champions of democracy, the Left Front and the TMC, and both are so intolerant to a contrarian view. So the only way they can handle a contrarian view is to violently suppress it. You've seen it all over, how women have been raped, how people have been murdered, how, I salute the political workers of BJP for braving and fighting the tyranny of the TMC, not only of the goons, but also of the administration. And it is this reason that across the board, there is the widespread feel that this time Mamata must be voted out. She has to be taught a lesson that democracy has to survive through good governance and not through violence. And that is the reason we in BJP are extremely, extremely hopeful that this time around we will see a huge surge in the popularity and the winnability of BJP.
Sudhanshu Mittal, I've got to ask you this because I was asking the others right before you joined. There's one particular constituency called Behrampur where, of course, a person whom you know, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, is contesting the single seat that the Congress has from that state. Mamata Banerjee has gone all the way to Baroda in Gujarat. to find an opponent in Yusuf Pathan to take him on in Bengal. What then is the logic of this contest? Why would a Mamata Banerjee want to defeat the Congress if they are together?
See, this is the strangest part of the politics of India. Now, every component of India has been swearing by India, but when it comes to their own state, they have been shunning the other political parties. So take the left. When it came to Kerala, they had no alliance with any other India party. Take West Bengal. The so-called leader of India group, Miss Mamata Banerjee, has chosen not to align with the Congress and the left. So, I mean, India is a farce which has been perpetrated, but a camouflage has been created to mislead the people of this country.
Okay.
I mean, the animosity between Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and Mamata Banerjee is well known to everybody. And Mamata will leave no stone unturned to ensure an exit to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary from...
But Sudhanshu ji, in polarization that takes place in elections, and we all know both sides benefit from polarization, it is unignorable that Mamata Banerjee, the Congress party, they are offering Muslim quotas, they are offering central government jobs. Jobs is an issue, and the Congress party is offering it. Mamata Banerjee is coming out and saying that, well, democracy is under threat. Some people will buy it. You are up against it, and certainly the minority quota issue is an issue for you, but for some people, that's exactly what they want.
You see, they are trying to mislead the minorities by creating rosy pictures. Let us understand that the Constitution prohibits any discrimination on grounds of religion. So there is no affirmative action which can be taken on the grounds of religion. See, reservation is a consequence of the provisions of an affirmative action, where the doctrine is that equality is amongst the equals. So for the upliftment of people, so that they become equals to everybody else in the society, there are certain provisions which have been created in the Constitution, including the reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. For the others, it was the classes.
Yes.
It was other backward classes, not castes. So it's not religion-based, it's nothing. It's the class of people who have been deprived for socio-economic, not economic,
all right.
socio-educational
That's a fair constitutional argument, because that's what it is. You're watching voting happening in Pulwama.
Muslims will never have constitutional reservation.
Okay.
No matter what.
No, Muslims already have constitutional reservation because some of them do. Yeah, no, some of them do belong to the OBC communities or the EBC communities. So a percentage, about 42% of all Muslims in this country technically qualify for a reservation on just those categories. That's the technical argument, a constitutional argument. But Sudhanshu ji, it does not take away from the larger picture argument, which people say that, look, in a country of 250 nearly million Muslims, the Bharatiya Janata Party can't find one candidate?
Absolutely. It is for the Muslim community to think as to how the party which is ruling this country for the last 10 years can afford to ignore them. And the reason is very simple. The party must, the Muslims must introspect. For the last 10 years, can they point out one discriminatory act of the government? Have they not been given toilets? Have they not been given the gas connections? Are they not being given free food? Have they not been included in Ayushman? Is there one government scheme which they have not benefited for? In fact, looking at the economic conditions, the statistics have it that the role, the share of the Muslim community in all these welfare schemes is larger than the share of their own population in the country. So they are more beneficiaries of the Muslims in terms of population percentage. But the Muslims still choose to demonize BJP because of the kind of campaign which has gone around by the other political parties, without thinking as to what is the real-time discrimination or the damage or what is the real-time animosity BJP has shown towards them. None. It is time for them to introspect.
Okay, I know Gautam's eyes are lighting up and he wants to interject on that. So Gautam, I'm going to come straight to you. There is no denying the fact that in 10 years, neither you in the Congress nor any other political party has given any evidence, claim or anecdote to suggest that central government schemes like housing, water, everything else has been denied to Muslims.
I mean, they are doing no special effort by making sure that it reaches the Muslims and the other religions equally. It's their duty. They are elected to do that. So to say that हमने Muslims को दे दिया, they have done nothing special and they must not be proud about it because it is their duty. They must do it. But when the Prime Minister of India from a rally speaks that घुसपैठिया and ये जो आए लोगों को हमारे resources बांट दिए जाएंगे ज्यादा बच्चों वालों को, it is shame. This is a BJP spokesperson sitting here and saying the constitution says no discrimination on the grounds of religion. And the Prime Minister of the country, from a political rally, spews out venom from his mouth, spews out all kind of discrimination on grounds of religion. So Muslims must not introspect. The Bharatiya Janata Party must introspect.
Okay.
That this is the party which is trying to create discrimination and social disharmony in the country.
Okay.
And that social disharmony politics, Rishabh, I just want to add here, thankfully, we are very confident it's not working now. The NDA government is on the route out. The Narendra Modi is not coming back for the third term.
Okay.
The people of India are voting for issues this time.
All right, I'll put the caveats out there because you have to interpret comments according to what you think they are. The caveats out there, of course, so the PM was referring to the fact that yes, indeed, we have a large case of undocumented migration that comes in from Burma and Bangladesh. So I'm putting the caveat out there. Of course, you can interpret the comment as and when you want. Okay, let's pick this up, Himanshu, but to the battleground states, because all of Andhra Pradesh is voting not only for Lok Sabha elections, but they are voting for the state assembly elections. It is a fight between Jagan and Chandrababu Naidu, but the Congress says they are the third wheel. They are also in the fight. What do you make of it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Very clearly, these are the two regional parties that are fighting for a state. Yes, certain stake will be there on the Lok Sabha seat, 25 Lok Sabha seats. Because unfortunately, BJP does not have the groundwork there. They are picking back like Maharashtra in initial stages as a junior partner. They always do that. When they enter a state, they piggyback on someone's back as a junior partner. That is what they have done here in Andhra Pradesh. Whereas as far as Congress is concerned, after Jagan Mohan Reddy's rise and what they did to Jagan, you know, Congress has lost its bastion. Andhra Pradesh Congress, whatever they might say, they have the same family woman as their leader, Sharmila fighting. All those things are all right. But as far as Vidhan Sabha is concerned, it's a straight fight between
Okay, but Himanshu, but what turned? Because it was a total disaster. The bifurcation of the state for the party, Congress party, was a total disaster. They got wiped out of Telangana because rather than getting credit for having created the state of Telangana, KCR took the credit and then stayed there for 10 years. Jagan, of course, made a comeback and it really decimated the Congress in Andhra Pradesh. But the Congress has returned after 10 years to Telangana. So it is possible. So why do you think nothing is possible in Andhra?
No. At present juncture, see, after 10 years, you talk of that's something different. The way Congress made a comeback after 10 years with Revanth Reddy in Telangana might happen with some other younger leaders in Andhra Pradesh. But right now, when we are talking about 25 seats of Lok Sabha, I would say that is between these two regional parties with BJP picking back of Chandrababu Naidu.
Okay, so let me pick up on this with Piyush ji. Piyush ji, 31 cases filed against Jagan Mohan Reddy, 7 by the Enforcement Directorate, the remaining 24 by the CBI and other agencies. He was kept in jail for 16 months. He came out and said that he was mistreated in jail, not allowed to even freely conduct his Padyatra. The Congress under, I'm sorry to say, Sonia Gandhi at that point of time as the president made his life miserable. Why does that not sound like a familiar case that 12 years later, none of those cases have even come to trial?
Oh, you know, this is what happens. You know, with most of the cases, we have seen it because most of the cases are are a result of political vendetta. So what happens? It takes a lot of time, and that is also you can say a statement on an adverse statement or on our investigative agencies who take so much time to investigate the matters. So I think most of these cases we seen, even presently we are seeing in the case of Delhi or in other cases also, they are mostly motivated by some political vendetta, or you can say some political interest or some political interest of the ruling party. So that's why what happens, and the person concerned gets the sympathy of the people, because he comes out and when he says that I have been traumatized, I have been subjected to harsh punishment, I was subjected to harassment. So it gives a kind of sympathy to that person.
Okay.
So this is what has happened.
Like in politics, both sides benefit from these matters. Okay, but let me ask Gautam Seth the straight question: why ED, CBI was sent after Jagan Reddy under the UPA? What was the reason he was jailed for 16 months and now he's a free man, so much so that his sister is in your party and leading the party in the state?
You know, that time we felt that there were some cases that need to be examined, and as a fair government in the UPA, we didn't have the trend of protecting our corrupt ministers or protecting our ministers against whom allegations were raised. Mrs. Gandhi and Dr. Manmohan Singh had a clear decision that any allegation made against any minister, he must resign, come out clean and then join back. But certainly Jaganji didn't want to go through the process of coming out clean. He also rebelled. But today we have a leader in Sharmila ji. We have a leader who is creating some waves on the ground. When people used to say that the Congress cannot come back in Telangana, totally write us off. We came back. And we came back with a force that today in Telangana votes on 17 seats. The Congress clearly sees an edge on at least 13 to 14 of them and is giving a tough fight on the others. So I see that in Andhra Pradesh also, Sharmila ji is doing the needed hard work, is creating the waves on ground.
Has he forgiven you?
In her leadership, I think the Congress is on the road to resurgence.
Okay, Gautam, the viewers will judge ED, CBI being used against an individual because he wanted to be the replacement for his father in the state, and you said no. So we'll wonder that until he wanted to be a replacement, there was no ED-CBI. Then suddenly there was ED-CBI. And then, of course, ED-CBI vanished. 12 years later, the trial has not even begun. But, okay, let me then turn the question around. His sister has joined. Is he welcome back to the Congress if he chose to?
No, I think the style of his politics and the way that he has carried forward the governance agenda of his, totally dismantling the ideals of YSR. And I think if he's doing something like this, the Congress does not align with that ideology. Whereas Sharmila ji represents the ideology of YSR, represents the ethics of YSR, and she has gone to people taking her thought process, taking her vision for Andhra Pradesh, taking the Congress's vision for Andhra Pradesh. And we are on a road to resurgence. People used to laugh on news channels when the Congress was spoken about in Telangana. Today we are back sitting in power there. So anybody who has a smile on their face thinking that the Congress has got nothing to do in Andhra Pradesh, please wait and watch. The results are
parties come back from the abyss. The DMK was down to nothing, zero in Tamil Nadu, in the Lok Sabha. They came back. And yes, the Congress did come back in Telangana. Let me get Sudhanshu Mittal into this conversation. Sudhanshu ji, for at least the past 5 years, I can't say longer, but at least the past 5 years, in every crucial vote in Parliament, the YSR Congress and their hefty chunk of 22 members of Parliament have been more than cooperative, I'm assuming under the instructions of their party boss. They've never allied with you, they've never openly supported you, but yes, in terms of voting, you can look at the track record. Their presence of 22 MLAs and their presence in the Rajya Sabha has helped the government. So why are you in partnership again with Chandrababu Naidu then?
See, when it came to the Lok Sabha, the choices for them were either to support the Congress or to support us. Now, a Congress which was the tormentor for Jagan Mohan Reddy was certainly not an obvious choice. Look what the Congress did to them. I heard Mr. Gautam Seth making very proud claims. मुझे ध्यान आ गया, एक कहावत थी कि हमारा खून तो खून होता है, तुम्हारा खून पानी. हम करें तो बहुत अच्छा, तुम करो तो खराब. हमने तो हर व्यक्ति को ये कहा कि जैसे तुम्हारे पास तुम्हें एलिगेशंस होंगे, तुम्हें रिजाइन करना पड़ेगा, and you shall come out clean. What nonsense! Don't we all remember the history? The most corrupt government of Mr. Manmohan Singh had to be told that there is rule of law by the courts. If Raja went to jail, he went because of the court. If Kalmadi went to jail, he went because of the court. It is not that Manmohan Singh was very forthright about upholding the rule of law. So they are obviously inimical to the rule of law, and that is what Jagan had to say.
Okay.
And it is for this reason that he was tormented by them.
Sudhanshuji, I'm going to come and pick your mind in just a second, because Sonia Gandhi is speaking. She has not spoken a lot in this election campaign, so I'm curious to say what she's saying. I'm told it's about the Mahalakshmi Yojana. Let's listen in.
नमस्ते मेरी प्यारी बहनों, स्वतंत्रता की लड़ाई से लेकर आधुनिक भारत बनाने में महिलाओं का बड़ा योगदान रहा है। हालांकि आज हमारी महिलाएं भयंकर महंगाई के बीच संकट का सामना कर रही है। उनकी मेहनत और तपस्या के साथ न्याय करने के लिए कांग्रेस एक क्रांतिकारी गारंटी लेकर आई है। कांग्रेस की महालक्ष्मी योजना हम गरीब परिवारों की एक महिला को हर साल 1 लाख रुपए देंगे। कर्नाटक और तेलंगाना में पहले से ही हमारी गारंटी ने करोड़ों परिवारों की जिंदगी बदल दी है। चाहे मनरेगा हो, चाहे सूचना का अधिकार हो, शिक्षा का अधिकार हो और भोजन सुरक्षा जैसी हमारी योजनाओं से कांग्रेस पार्टी ने लाखों भारतीयों को ताकत दी है। महालक्ष्मी इस काम को आगे बढ़ाने की हमारी सबसे नई गारंटी है। इस कठिन समय में मैं आपको भरोसा दिलाना चाहती हूँ कि कांग्रेस का हाथ आपके साथ है और यही हाथ आपके हालात बदलेगा।
Okay, so now very obvious. This is one of the very rare statements that has been made by Sonia Gandhi. Okay, so the party clearly doubling down on the promise that they've made in their manifesto, and the promise was that they intend to give 1 lakh rupees. This is a grant, monies. They say if they come to power, to every woman in an economically backward or a poor family, okay, to every woman in an economically backward or a poor family, okay. Now let's discuss that. Gautam Seth is with us. I'll get a response from Sudhanshu Mittal as well. Gautam ji, you're doubling down on this, so clearly you are keen on women voters as well, and that's what Narendra Modi figured out 10 years ago.
I think this is a fight which is very close to the heart of Srimati Sonia Gandhi. She's been fighting for this from the time she is in Indian politics, to uplift the Indian woman, to strengthen the Indian woman in whatever way through policies the Indian National Congress can. And we all thank Mrs. Gandhi that she has taken this step, and she continues to fight for this cause of making sure that equality is implemented in reality. The equality must not just be in the books and just in conversations. We need to make sure that the economic upliftment of women is the actual thing on ground. It's not just spoken in speeches of politicians. And I think the only living embodiment of that is Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, and we all thank her that she has taken.
No doubt the Congress gave India its first woman prime minister, but okay, Gautam, I'm going to pick your brain because you're not going to get away with that easily. How many women, have you done the math, will be getting the 1 lakh rupees?
You see, a manifesto committee led by Mr. P. Chidambaram decided that every woman who comes under the economically weaker section EWS, economically weaker section, someone who is not financially stable to cater to their day-to-day needs, every woman from that family, that one woman per family, will be included in this scheme, the Mahalakshmi scheme. And if you want to go through how we implement it, you might as well look at Karnataka and Telangana, where the schemes have already taken implementation process has begun.
Okay.
And things have
I'm going to
already
draw an
started.
assumption, okay, that there are 50% women in India. Okay, that's 70 crore. If let's say 20% of that or 30% of that are eligible for your schemes, Gautam, do you know how much money that is? That is 20 lakh crores. That is roughly half of the union budget.
No, I totally understand that, and I totally understand how you're trying to bring me to a point where I will not be able to
No,
convince
I'm not trying to bring you at any point. I'm just saying it's 20 lakh
crores.
crores. I'm not trying to bring you anywhere. Where's the 20 lakh crores going to come from? I don't have it.
You and I sitting in this newsroom cannot decide on the number of women beneficiaries that will be through the scheme.
So you are saying no, the women beneficiaries will have to be at the best in their thousands or in their lakhs. They can't be in their crores.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying every woman from a family that is from the EWS who are not able to cater to their day-to-day needs will be included in this scheme. Have we not done it in Telangana? Have we not done it in Karnataka? Do you think we cannot do it in India? And when you talk about 20 lakh crores, okay. So the union government writes off 5 lakh, 6 lakh, 7 lakh crores of the big businessmen. And उस parliament में छोटा सा नीचे लिख दिया जाता है written off. And when you give it to the poor, you call it subsidies.
According to the multi-dimensional poverty index, okay, at least 18.2% of the general category in India belongs to the EWS. At the very least, you're looking at 3.5 crore individuals who belong to the EWS. Assuming that of the 3.5 crore individuals, 1.75 crore are women. For every 1 crore, you're talking about 1 lakh crore. It's a minimum 2 lakh crores right here. And this is the general category. I'm not going to go into OBCs, SCs, STs, which is, you can double that once again. So you're talking about lakhs of crores. Okay. So you've done the math. You're confident you've done the math and this will...
Absolutely. And I would just like to add one line to it, Rishabh. That's what Rahul Gandhi says, that these people are putting together money and writing off of the millionaires and the billionaires. And we are going to divert the same money to the poor and make sure that we create many lakhpatis, not just 5-6 arabpatis who fund the BJP in Adani Tempo and Ambani Tempo services recently declared by the Prime Minister.
Yes, because the Tatas and Birlas did not exist before 2014. That never happened. Okay, let me get Sudhanshu Mittal into this. Sudhanshu Mittal, but it is important. You yourself understand the value of the women vote. You've been going after the value of the women vote for the past 10 years. Now, you also have a scheme of Lakpati Didis, but imagine whether it is a ghost or a reality economically, but imagine the women voters are going to hear, listen, 1 lakh rupees, we get it, simple.
The issue is whether it is just a Ghoshna or whether they do this. Why has Mrs. Sonia Gandhi been required to make a special announcement specifically on this? Because this was already announced by Rahul Gandhi in his guarantee. They all understood that Rahul's guarantee has been laughed away. Nobody believes that the man is capable of any guarantees, let alone any serious talk of guarantees. He's not capable of coherent thinking also. It is for this reason that they needed at this juncture, needed a reiteration of the camouflage they want to commit. We just heard Mr. Gautam saying that this is only meant for EBS. No, this is not meant for EBS. If you look at their constitution, their promises, it is meant for everybody. It is meant for the scheduled caste. It is meant for the scheduled tribe. It is meant for the BPL families. It's meant for everybody. The selling of the upper class is only of the EBS. So when you look at the numbers, it is laughable as to what they're talking. The sheer rhetoric of it has not been able to create any resonance in the hearts of women, because they have seen that Congress promises but does not deliver. What is very significant today is yesterday Arvind Kejriwal came up with his 10 guarantees and saying that look, these guarantees will be adopted by the indie groups.
Yeah, okay.
Now,
I'll come and ask Gautam whether he's...
because
I'll ask Gautam.
I'll just finish. I'll just take 1 second. So he was trying to usurp this space from the Congress by giving Kejriwal's guarantees. Now Congress had to react. They can't let the space be taken away by Kejriwal. So this is a reiteration to talk about all this. It's nothing sheer one-upmanship between the warring parties. It's nothing to do with women. It's nothing to do with
I'll draw the difference.
It's nonsensical.
I'll draw the difference. The BJP came out with a scheme called Lakpati Ditis. The difference between that scheme is they say we will provide drones or skilling and allow you to earn 1 lakh rupees. The Congress says Government of India under them would give you 1 lakh rupees. The mathematics they say they have done. The mathematics on paper to me tells me that it is impossible to do for everyone. It is impossible to do for a few people, but impossible to do for everyone. Why is Sharmila speaking out this morning? Let's quickly listen and I'll come back to this.
కడప జిల్లా అభివృద్ధి కోసం రాష్ట్రంలో అయితే రాష్ట్రంలో అభివృద్ధి కోసం బంగారు భవిష్యత్తు కోసం అందరూ ఓటు వేయాలని ఓటు హక్కుని వినియోగించుకోవాలని కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ అధ్యక్షురాలు రాజశేఖర రెడ్డి బిడ్డ మనస్ఫూర్తిగా అందరినీ
మేడం పోలింగ్ ప్రక్రియ మొదలైనప్పటి నుంచి గొడవలు జరుగుతున్నాయి కడప జిల్లా వ్యాప్తంగా మైదుకూరు ప్రాంతాల్లో కూడా పెద్ద దాడులు జరిగినటువంటి పరిస్థితి.
ఈసీ వెంటనే చర్యలు తీసుకోవాలి. ప్రజాస్వామ్యాన్ని కాపాడాల్సిన బాధ్యత ఈసీకుంది, పోలీసులకుంది. దయచేసి ఏ ఒక్క పార్టీ సైడ్ తీసుకోకుండా నిస్వార్థంగా ఇంపార్షియల్గా అధికారులందరూ పనిచేయాలని, ప్రజాస్వామ్యాన్ని గెలిపించాలని, భారత రాజ్యాంగాన్ని గెలిపించాలని కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ కోరుతుంది.
మేడం, పొలంపేట నియోజకవర్గంలో వైసీపీ నేతలు కొన్ని ఈవీఎంలు ధ్వంసం చేశారు పోలింగ్ బూతులలోకి దూరి. దీనిపైన
వెంటనే అక్కడున్న వైసీపీ అభ్యర్థిని బహిష్కరించాలి.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.